How many moments of happiness have you postponed, telling yourself, not now, someday? Someday, when there's more money. Someday when life feels secure. Someday when everything is finally in place. This is the story of a man who did everything right. He was responsible, careful, disciplined with his money and his choices. From the outside, his life looked stable and almost admirable. Yet inside, something felt missing. Peace never stayed long. Joy always felt delayed. It wasn't that he lacked money. It was that fear had quietly taken control of his decisions. One day, seeking clarity, he met an old monk. And in a single calm conversation, the monk revealed a mistake many people only realize when it's already too late. The monastery sat quietly at the edge of a mountain village, surrounded by tall trees and open sky. No noise of traffic, no rushing footsteps, only the soft sound of wind moving through leaves and the distant call of birds. Time seemed slower there, almost intentional. The old monk moved calmly, each step unhurried, as if nothing in the world was chasing him. He spoke little, and when he did, his words were gentle and precise. Sitting across from him, the man felt his own restlessness grow louder. His thoughts raced, his hands tightened, his mind jumped ahead. The monk noticed everything, the tension, the unease, the unspoken fear, but he showed no judgment. Only quiet understanding, shaped by years of watching human worries come and go. For years, the man lived by one rule: save first, live later. Every desire was postponed, every small joy delayed. He avoided simple pleasures, convincing himself they were unnecessary, even irresponsible. A better time would come, he believed, when he felt safer, when the future felt guaranteed. Outwardly, people admired him. He was disciplined, practical, and always prepared. His bank balance grew, but his life grew smaller. Conversations became rushed, invitations were politely declined. Rest felt unearned, and peace felt temporary. At night, his body was tired, but his mind never rested. Worry followed him into sleep, and silence made his fears louder. He wasn't unhappy in an obvious way, just empty in a quiet, dangerous one. What he didn't realize was that many people live their entire lives like this, carefully storing money, time, and joy away, waiting for a moment that never arrives. And by the time they notice what they've lost, there's very little left to use. Eventually, the weight became too heavy to ignore. The man didn't come to the monastery for wealth or success. He already had those. He came because, despite all his careful planning, peace continued to slip through his hands. Sitting before the old monk, he spoke honestly about his habits, his fears, and his constant need to prepare for the future. The monk listened without interruption, his eyes calm, his posture still. When the man finished, the monk asked only a few simple questions about time, about fear, about what the man believed he was protecting. Then, instead of offering advice, the monk stood up and handed him a small task. It seemed almost meaningless. Too simple to matter. The man hesitated, confused. How could something so ordinary possibly answer questions he had carried for years? The monk led him to a small storage room behind the monastery. Inside were shelves lined with jars of grain, oil, and dried fruit. The monk picked up a fresh loaf of bread, still warm, and placed it in the man's hands. "Store this," the monk said softly. "Lock it away for later." The man did as he was told. He wrapped the bread carefully, placed it on a high shelf, and closed the wooden door. Something about the act felt wrong, though he couldn't explain why. The bread had been meant to be eaten, shared, enjoyed, but now it sat sealed in darkness. Days later, the monk asked him to return. When the door was opened, the bread had hardened, its smell sour and lifeless. The man felt a quiet discomfort rise in his chest. What once held nourishment now held nothing useful. In that moment, clarity replaced confusion. He saw himself in that bread, protected, preserved, and slowly losing value. The tension he carried for years finally had a shape. It wasn't safe. It was a waste. The old monk looked at the hardened bread and then at the man. His voice was calm, but his words were precise. "Saving is not the problem," he said. "Fear is." He explained that saving wisely prepares for life, but saving out of fear delays it. Some things are meant to be preserved. Others are meant to be used while they still have value. Life, he said, is one of them. This is not about wasting money, the monk continued. It is about wasting life while trying to protect it. The monk spoke of the presence of using time, energy, and resources with intention instead of anxiety. Peace of mind does not come from storing everything away for later, but from knowing when to hold and when to live. The lesson was simple, and that was why it hurt. The man finally understood what his fear had been costing him. From that day, the man's approach to life began to shift. He didn't abandon caution or responsibility, but he no longer postponed joy for some distant someday. He allowed himself small pleasures, a warm meal shared with friends, a walk in the sun, time spent reading without guilt. The nervous tension that once followed him everywhere gradually loosened. Decisions felt lighter, moments richer. He realized that resources, like life itself, are meant to serve living, not just surviving. Where there had once been constant worry and calculation, there was now a calm presence. Each day felt fuller, not because he had more, but because he chose to use what he had wisely. In the stillness of evening, he sat quietly, feeling grounded, free, and surprisingly at peace. Ask yourself, what are you saving for a future that may never arrive? Is fear keeping you from truly living today? Take a moment to reflect on your habits, not just with money, but with time, love, and the moments that matter most. If this story resonated, share it, leave your thoughts below, and subscribe for more gentle lessons and stories of growth.